it's Jennifer from Fiberflux. In this Yarn 101, we're going to be taking a closer look at June Cashmere DK. Extra special thanks to the folks at June Cashmere for providing this skein of yarn that we're going to look at so that I can share it with all of you. Now, when the yarn was sent to me, it came in this pretty little package, and I know how much all of you probably like unwrapping yarn, so it was really fun, and I've already taken a sneak peek at this. As you can see, there is an animal, and that is a goat because of the cashmere fiber. That's their logo. So let's look inside. Here is the beautiful yarn. Now this is cashmere yarn, like I mentioned before, and it is DK weight, 50 grams. It's very soft and luxurious. You can tell that it's a fine fiber when you hold the yarn in your hand. The color I have here is slate, and we're going to take a look at some of the other colors in just a moment. The washing instructions state to hand wash and dry flat. So that's pretty typical for a luxury fiber like cashmere. The recommended needle size for the knitters out there is a US 6. So I grabbed one of my US 6 needles, and that is a 4.25 millimeter. Now for the crocheters, there isn't a crochet hook listed on the label, but not to worry. What I like to do when I don't see that on the yarn label is to just look for something close. So this is a 4.25. I have here a G hook. That's a 4.0 millimeter. It's similar, not exactly same millimeters, but I would start with this and maybe work up a little swatch. This is probably the closest I have between this needle and this hook. So maybe work up a little swatch and see what you think. You might want to go up a hook size if you want something a little bit looser and more drapey. And you might want to go down a hook size if you need something a little tighter and sturdy for your crocheted fabric. So just experiment a little bit with that. And really, honestly, when the crochet hook is listed on a label, I end up experimenting anyway. So now, like I mentioned before, the color is slate. It does come in lots, dye lots. And let's take a look at some of the colors. So here is some of the stuff that they sent. This is a lovely booklet with some ideas with some patterns, and I really love when yarn has a story behind it, and we're going to talk a little bit about that too. So the yarn comes in all of these colors, and they're very beautiful, and 2 weights that comes in as well. So we have the DK here, but it also comes in a lace weight. So the DK and the lace are both 50 grams. And for the DK, they recommend a US 6, like I mentioned a few minutes ago. And the lace, they recommend a US 1. So just look for the equivalent crochet hook of that. The DK has 150 yards per skein. The lace has 308 yards per skein. And if we look at the colors here, now I have the slate. That's this one, number 4. And you can see there's 12 colors, and all of these colors come in the lace, and all of the colors come in the DK. So we have here is called the natural. That is the unbleached, undyed yarn. Next is called silver fox, espresso, then slate, scarlet, indigo, June sky, pumpkin, curry, moss, mulberry, and Aegean. So these are very beautiful colors, and I'm sure all of you can find your favorite. So let's talk a little bit about where this yarn comes from and how it's sourced and the process that it goes through before it arrives to your needles and hooks. So here is a full color booklet that I have here, and there's a lot of really beautiful photography. So basically, when the yarn, let me flip ahead for just a minute because I want to talk about the whole process, and then we'll get more specific. So here I have this world map, because this yarn, before it becomes the yarn that you see here, it travels all over the place. So this yarn begins in the mountains of Kyrgyzstan, and I hope I'm saying that right. But Kyrgyzstan is a mountainous, landlocked country in Central Asia, if you're unfamiliar with the country. And the cashmere fiber is collected by the nomadic shepherds of the area, and you can kind of see in this booklet, see how they're with the animals. And they collect fibers from other animals, but this June Cashmere just uses the cashmere fibers, which comes from the goat. And here's some of the tools, and you can see the landscape is very pretty. These are some of the shepherd stations at the base of the mountains where some of these herds are. And if you aren't familiar with this part of the world, Kyrgyzstan is along the Silk Road, which historically, for many centuries, connected China with the Mediterranean, and was a major trade route in ancient times. So that's really neat. So the yarn actually has an interesting history. So let's flip ahead to the world map here. So our fiber begins way over here and in Kyrgyzstan, and it's combed there. Next, it travels to Belgium, where it's scoured. And then it moves along to England, where it's de-haired. I'm not familiar with this process, but it does sound important. And then finally, it goes to Scotland, where it's spun into yarn. And then finally, it travels to the United States for the final process, where it is organically dyed. Down here, you can see the colors and these colors that I shared with you here. So it does travel. It's a very well-traveled yarn, and it was really interesting to flip through this book and just learn about the different areas that it moves around to. And we can flip ahead here. You can see some of the colors and some of the folks that take part of this process. And then in the back of my book are some of the patterns that are made with this yarn. I really love to see patterns made with a yarn when I'm unfamiliar with a yarn. I've never heard of the June Cashmere company. It's a fairly new company, and so it's nice to see not only the yarn but some finished pieces as well. So we have the DK here. So here's a shawl with the DK and a beautiful scarf. Here's a cowl. Now this is made with the lace weight, so you can see this is a little chunkier and a little bit finer and more delicate. There's a hat made with the lace, a scarf made with the lace, and it really helps to see how it's going to drape, how the colors kind of play out in the stitches as well. Some mitts with the DK, a lace scarf, and finally a shawl. So yeah, that is, oh, and a scarf on the back that's really beautiful as well. So one more thing I wanted to mention is cashmere is, the fiber itself is a very strong fiber, and it's a very warm fiber, and it's also a very soft fiber. So if you've ever had the pleasure of using cashmere, it's a really pleasant fabric to work with as well. So I hope that this helped you, and if you want to learn more, even more about this yarn, there's a lot of information. They have a really nice website. It's www.junecashmere.com, and again, it's 100% cashmere, and that's it. So please leave your comments below, and be sure and click that subscribe button to get all the latest Fiber Flux video updates. Thanks again.